I think we're going to get started.
Okay, so for everybody that's on the web, thank you for joining us. For everybody in the room, thank you for joining us. This is Dr. Bob Thibadeau. What you're going to get to see is a combination of combining cognitive science and computer science to address real-world problems, in this case, deception. But if you look at his work, he's used this kind of approach in a variety of things, looking at issues ranging from security to privacy to other what is now called sense-making behaviors. But at that, we're going to be
First, I'm from Atlanta. I'm a Deep South guy, so I talk like a Deep South guy. So you're going to have to excuse the pauses and the stories that I'm going to tell. Okay, there's the two properties. Okay, and I've been at Carnegie Mellon since 1979, so I'm retired, sort of. Okay, but I do my own thing nowadays, and so forth and so on. And I got involved in lying, and it turned out that this morning, or actually this week, the current issue of The Economist. This is it. I saw this morning, and it's a great article. It's all about a guy named Jonathan Haidt, who is giving a talk here across the campus at 5 p.m. today. And he's talking about lying, and he's got his last name is Haidt, which I thought was cool. Okay. But the essence of this article is The Economist is publishing an article that says that lies work. We are all doomed, and there's no solutions on the horizon. We might as well curl up and just die. This is it. And the essence of the article is you really can fool some of the people all of the time. It's true. And there's no possibility of changing that. That's their argument. Politicians pay a surprisingly small price for dishonesty, and that's the Economist thing. And my argument is that's wrong and right. So the problem is you won't like the answer very much. The answer that I've got for you on how you're not doomed is an answer you will not like. Sorry, it's the only good answer. The science says it's the only good answer. There is no other answer. And I have my full answer to the Economist. I wrote this article this morning, and I call it Reality Fools. And if this works, I don't know whether this is going to work. No, not going to work until I kill the slideshow. Yeah, so this is Reality Fools. This is the article. And you may or may not be interested in it, but this is my analysis of, there was a whole bunch of psychologists that were quoted in this article, and this is my own opinion of what each of these psychologists sort of said. And the last psychologist that was brought in was David Perkins from Harvard, and he said, smarter people can detect lies better and make up reasons to believe lies better than dumb people. And that's why we're all doomed. Because dumb people are going to be perpetually dumb and smart people are going to be perpetually smart, and there's more dumb people than there are. And this is this guy from Harvard, his conclusion, okay? And my argument is, yes, we've known that for 1,000 years, no problem. We have solutions to that problem, and nobody likes the solutions, but they're the only solutions we have, sorry. So I'm going to try to see if this, I'm going to try to do this way kind of to see if I can be able to see what I'm doing. So I have two books. One I'm passing, people can look at, is The Internet Court of Lies, How to Get Your Lies Back. And it's cognitive science behind lies and how to build a court case management system to resolve Fiat lies in the media. We'll get into what Fiat lies. And then since September 1, I've written over 100 articles on Medium.com. How many of y'all have ever heard of Medium.com? I had a feeling. There's 60 million people in the world who have heard of Medium.com. I just talked to, not an hour ago, the ex-president of the university, and he had never heard of it. The beauty of Medium.com is it's got a lot of high-quality press writers on it, so that gives somebody who's looking to write things about lies a very, very nice environment to pick an article and say, this is how the Internet Court of Lies will deal with these lies. Okay. And that's how you can write 2 to 3 articles a day and not slow down, okay? Because you've got such a great world to do it in. Plus, it's probably one of the main sites for GitHub users for Python natural language understanding. I don't know if any of y'all are programmers, but for natural language understanding systems, Medium is the place to be. So it's actually highly relevant to the opportunity to do some interesting AI in this area. So my argument is that the science of lies is a cognitive science, and these are sort of the basic observations of which I could take an hour on each one of them, and I'm not gonna. So truth and lie manipulations are essentially neocortical computations of predications. So my way of thinking about, I'm a cognitive neuroscientist guy, okay? My way of thinking of the neocortex is that it manipulates subjects and predicates. So in dogs think in subjects and predicates, and birds think in subjects and predicates, and we think in subject and predicate, except we're just really, really good at it, and they are too. The neocortical brain performs incredible numbers of predication evaluations with incredible precision all the time, unbelievable precision all the time. We have no idea how it works, but we can see pieces of it this way. It's evidenced by natural language. Natural language is the language you learn when you're a baby if you're a normal kid in a normal environment. And I've been arguing for many, many years that natural language is a window on how the neocortex computes. So if you wonder how many predications a second the neocortex is capable of computing, just look at how fast somebody can talk and how fast you can listen to it and understand what he's saying. A sentence has many, many predications. Most of them do in them, and then they bring up, there's a lot of implicators and so forth. So truth and lies are determined, and this is my kind of science coming in, by only truth that we know, our episodic memories. So we do not come born with a theory of gravity and relativity. It just doesn't happen. We can't do deduction outside of some things that I don't want to go spend an hour on. But we know truth in terms of what we've experienced, in terms of episodes. And we know lies in terms of what we experience. And so every sentence and story, and sentence means a very specific thing here, is an episode and conveys an episode. And then the proof that I have in that book is that every sentence can be a lie. So everybody is lying all the time to somebody. And the reason is that no two of us have exactly the same episodic memories. We cannot possibly understand the same sentences in exactly the same ways. And so any number of you can have listened to some of the sentences I just said and say, well, that's not right. And I think I'm completely right. So I lied to some of y'all. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I lied to you. It's also, every sentence can be the truth. So any sentence you can pick out of the world can be true. Any sentence that you pick out of the world can be a lie. 1 and 1 is equal to 264 can be absolutely true. And 1 and 1 is equal to 2 can be absolutely a lie. All you have to do is figure out the context, and it's easy for anybody to actually do that, figure out the context to see that these things that's true. So since the world is filled with nobody being able to have exactly the same episodic memories, and people only dependent on what they can say to each other to communicate or wave to each other and so forth, then there's something called Fiat Lying, which is not folk lying. So folk lying is the lying that you know about and read about and think about and all these other things. It's the lies that we know. Folk lies are what we talk about when we talk about lies. When you say you never lie, you mean you think you never lie, because you never really intentionally lie. And a lot of people, most people, don't think they lie. But no two episodic memories are the same. Any sentence can be a lie, so you're lying all the time. You might not like it. A fiat lie is a sentence or story, a meme, a YouTube, a video shop, TV show, interview, action, or other neocortical episodic predication communicated that you suspect might be a lie, where it's infeasible for any reason to dialogue with the person who produces that sentence in order to figure out if it's actually a lie. So if you say something to me and I think you just lied, you were wrong, okay? I can dialogue back to you, and you can convince me that how you understood it, and then we both agree, yeah, you were right and I was right, and we were thinking things in a different context. But if we can't dialogue in natural language, one person to one person, we're all dead. We're doomed. It's all over. Okay. And the guys and the economists were right. We are doomed. So the first time that this awareness came into being was about 100 years after the printing press, at the beginning of the Age of Enlightenment, and fiat lies were running rampant. The little things on walls and stuff where people were printing stuff all the time, and it was crossing sovereign boundaries, and things became hairy, just like they're hairy now with the internet. And so out of the Age of Enlightenment, or the Age of Reason, whatever you want to call it, came two things which were interesting. One were the rules of evidence. And if you go to law school, you'll find out 1600s, that's when the rules of evidence were worked out for court, so that people could come to an agreement as to what the truth was in a situation. And the other one was science as we know it today, as a means to come to truth by being able to communicate with people, to let them replicate and see the truth for themselves. And that all happened about 400 years ago. Prior to that time, things had turned into a full mess. And so the argument is that without dialogue, person-to-person dialogue, since every sentence can be a lie, you can never whack a mole that lies away. So no amount of technology, no amount of law per se can get rid of the lying, the fiat lying that's going on, that's misleading people into doing things they shouldn't be doing, and so forth and so on. So there's a question. with fiat lies, which are lies that are not susceptible to dialogue, okay, or don't just enable dialogue, what is a useful taxonomy of lies? And my argument is that that's a useful taxonomy of lies. It basically defines a lie in set theory terms, which happens to be the same as the legal terms for a lie, which is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So it only relies on the meaning of one word, truth, okay, and the rest is set theory, and has to do with predications. The truth is a predication. The lie can be a lie. This is this is the decision network for producing a taxonomy. If you feed the decision network all the assertions that happen all the time, all the billions and zillions of assertions all the time, out will come a taxonomy at any point in time, and you just blow the assertions through this system, and it will tell you what kind of lies you have, and you can find all the fiat lies in the environment, vocalized lies that people don't have any problem talking about. And when you've got a folk lie, you can tell whether it's factually true or not true. You can tell whether there's a deceit, not the whole truth, whether the deceit is intended or not intended. And you can have some idea, because you can dialogue with the guy, what's his motivation, why is he lying? Okay. A fiat lie, you're guessing. Is he actually factually untrue? It might not be to him. It might be factually completely true to him. As far as he knows in all of his episodic experiences and the context in which he's talking to you and the whole thing, it could be factually true or untrue. You don't know. You can't tell the deceit, whether there's any deceit there. You can't tell if there is deceit, whether it was intended or unintended. And you certainly can't tell the motivation. You're just guessing. If it's a fiat lie, you're just guessing until you have the ability to have some dialogue with the guy to try to figure out what it is. And of course, if the lie is an unsuspected lie, the deceit succeeds. So there are lies you can't get rid of. If it's an unsuspected lie, you can't get rid of that. The guy's not going to tell anybody it's a lie. You don't know to question it. You just believe it. So what we're doing now, if this works, and I have to change the mode here. So the answer came back was that the means that was created 400 years ago was to create a court. And courts are whether it's somebody's committed fraud, murder, just lying, whatever, okay. A court is designed to get at the truth as best we can through dialogue and people reaching consensus as to what the underlying lie, if there is one, if they decide that there is one, is. Okay. And so we have a means, which is, but this is, the Internet Court of Lies is not designed for a real legal system. All we're putting in jail are the lies. In fact, the Internet Court of Lies, when you file a suit on the Internet Court of Lies, you're inherently anonymous. In fact, the liar is inherently anonymous unless he's stupid enough to have told everybody who he is. Okay. So the court system itself does not try people. It simply tries lies. And its function is to take a fiat lie and turn it as close as we can get to a conversational lie, and then publish what it is as a conversational lie, if to the extent that we can in a court. And that'll be the best we can do. So if you look and study what a court is, it's an enforced, moderated, open public dialogue. And that gives you a hint as to how we can build this on the internet. So this is like a unicorn thing for the internet. It's something that needs to be there, which is a court where we can decide for fiat lies whether they're, if it's a lie, if it's an intentional lie, what the deceit is, what the motive behind the deceit is. And what we'd like to be able to do is allow for multiple answers for any one of those things, estimates of likelihood. Okay. So we may not be able to tell you that it's 100% sure that this guy was trying to benefit himself as a motive, okay? But we can tell you with some assurance that, as a consensual assurance about what that might be. And the intention is that because of the nature of lies and nature of the human brain and natural language, the dialogue will be kept open and public forever. So for a given fiat lie or a given set of fiat lies, or however you do it, it'll be open forever because contextual understanding can change on a lie. So we may learn a year from now that something that we thought was one kind of a fiat lie or one kind of conversational lie has some other attributes to it that we didn't realize before. And so we can update the record essentially on that particular lie and so forth and so on. So this is the process for going through the court system. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the process. And then on the right is sort of a implementation hints. The plaintiff files a suit online for a small fee. So for $40, anybody in the world can file a suit on a fiat lie and say, I think this is a lie. I want it brought to justice. I'll pay you $40. Okay. So one way that we sort of say, well, since any sentence can be a lie, you can't file suits on every sentence. To slow people down a bit, you make it upfront cost to file a suit. And by the way, the countersuit filing party, which may be the liar who wants to remain anonymous, okay, he has to file the same fee. He's filing a kind of countersuit. The suit is, in fact, a wiki page. That's how it's going to show up. And so there's different levels here. One is a private wiki page for that suit, which becomes an open dialogue. Okay. Works the same way Wikipedia works. And then there's a class action suit that probably will be associated with that suit. A class action is a way to aggregate suits together into one. So let's say you paid $40 to file the suit. It's immediately associated with a class action that you can choose. You can say, yeah, that's the class. That's what this lie is. This is what I think this lie is. And so let's say 1,000 people are already in that suit. So it's 1,000 times 40, which is $40,000. And you just added, so it's $40,040 now that have gone into working the class action. And then the ultimate thing is at some point, the Internet Court of Lies releases the suit to Wikipedia. So there's another page, which is a Wikipedia page, which meets all the requirements of an encyclopedia page for Wikipedia, and the moderation is shifted to from an arbiter in the Internet Court of Lies to a Wikipedia moderator. And now it lives forever. So what lives forever is encyclopedia entry on this particular type of lie that's been occurring. And it might have a count of the number But the Internet Court of Lies is keeping all of the suit page and the class action suit pages and so forth and so on. And then what the court also does is it publishes an API to Facebook and Google and all these other guys that actually gives them the decisions of the court on the Fiat lie. The court does not sit there and say to Facebook, do not show this lie. What the court says is, this is what you got. You can now write your policies that are sort of meaningful policies on why you want to edit, you don't want to allow that content in, or maybe you want to allow the content in and do a certain type of warning. It's up to you. Google can do what they want to do. Bing can do what they want to do. I don't know. The Medium can do what they want to do, and so forth and so on. It's curated content. So the Court of Lies does not make content editing decision. Its job is to do what courts do really well, which is cause dialogue and enforce dialogue on a suspected lie to bring it to some resolution that basically tells you what you got there. Okay. The suit wiki page moderator may be not human. So when you're filing a suit, the moderator, and the countersuit comes in, the moderator may not be human. Okay. The moderator just might not be human. The class action, there'll be a human moderator somewhere, but moving from a suit to a class action could well be a non-human thing. So a non-human piece of AI could be sitting there looking at the file suit and looking at all its class actions and say, it's one of these 6, pick one, or pick 2, or give me a weighting on them. Do you like that? And if you like it, then now you've got a whole bunch of people being informed of this suit in the class action that can now have dialogue among each other and so forth and so on. And if the liar stays anonymous, he can stay anonymous in the whole thing. And he said, I filed a countersuit. I don't think I was lying, but nobody knows who he is. But he paid money to do this. So the key here is he's paying money to do these things. And then the company licenses social media to get access to the wiki page and the class action page. Anybody can get access to the Wikimedia page. But to get access to the details of the lie, the Wikimedia page is never, you can't list 30,000 lies on a Wikipedia page. They'll put you out of, they'll just say, this is too long. Okay, it's just not going to happen. So the Wikimedia page will be a very, very general encyclopedia entry on this class of lie. But the court will keep track of all the suit pages and class action pages necessary to fully inform Facebook of exactly how this lie was adjudicated. Okay. And the court will charge Facebook or Google using exactly their current advertising structure. So from a computational point of view, this whole mechanism is absolutely identical to the current system by which ads are dealt with, except the money is negative instead of positive for Google, okay? But it's still tiny bit of negative money coming in for them to, and then only, if they choose to make a query about something, and we're providing them with, here are the things that you can make queries about, okay? Only if they want to look it up. The same way, if you don't click through, you don't pay. Okay. So, I have a brilliant guy who programs sitting over there, okay? And he's going to tell me how to make this mock-up work. So this is Justin Donnell. And I've got to do this, get rid of this guy. Hello? Lost the... I've lost the... Try escape. Okay, so... Does anybody know these new PowerPoint thingies when it brings up a different page? I'm trying to, something happened. Good. Okay, so this is to give you an idea of what it is to file a suit, Justin mocked this up in something called Photoshop or Adobe XD, which is a very fast way to mock something up. It's really quite cool from a mocking up perspective. And so this is you coming to the Internet Core of Lies, which we have set up as liecourt.com right now. I'm just going to assume you've signed up already. And so you fill in your name, your password, and then you log in. And in this version of reality, the first thing you see is your dashboard. Okay, the dashboard sort of says the state of the Earth. It says that there are these number of lies jail, there are these number of class action suits. Here's some categories of suits. There's sort of politics and defamation and healthcare and fraud and so forth and so on. And it gives you, it tells you over here that 27% of these things are being seen in Facebook, 23% in Twitter, 21% in Google, 15% whatever. If you click on a suit, you see basically the current status of the suit, which you can't read, but there's sort of every lie has a globally unique ID. They'll last for 1,000 years. You as a plaintiff has a globally unique ID. This one says the suit is in process. The jail status is it's in jail, meaning it's being adjudicated. The plaintiff has arrived. The defendant has arrived. There are 17 jurors, which basically means that there are 17 other people that want to have a dialogue. There are 70-something visitors who want to watch the dialogue. Okay. There's 5 students, and there's 7 arbiters on this one. And then if you want to see what the jail, how Facebook deals with this lie, you can click on these things, and it'll show you how Facebook shows up the lie and how, or the class of lie, and so forth and so on. And now's the part that I get always confused about. So, Justin, what I want to do is find the one that does the case, the input to the case. Do you remember? He did this 3 months ago. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm going to file the suit myself. You can hire a Internet Court of Lies lawyer to file a suit for you if you want. Okay, so you can pay some more money and get a lawyer for yourself if you want to you'll see it's simple enough that you should be able to file a suit in a couple of 3, 4, 5 minutes. Sort of the date. It says where the lie appeared, web page, social media, email, other. There was a lie accusation which is limited to 250 words. And if you read the book, you'll find out that there are lots of examples of what an accusation looks like. And it says, here's the context of the lie. This is what makes it a lie. This is the context in which I'm seeing this thing. And then you have to sort of say how speech dialogue is inhibited by the lie or the context. In other words, it's not a fiat lie. If you can talk to the liar already and work it out between the two of you, it ain't a fiat lie anymore. I mean, that's not fiat. Okay. But making your case that it's not a fiat lie is not hard. You can say, well, it's an anonymous liar. I don't know who to talk to. I have no idea. It just showed up on my Facebook page. The lie doesn't respond to a request for dialogue. The liar threatens retribution if the lie is questioned. The liar lies about his willingness to dialogue. In other words, he says, yeah, I'll talk about it. And then he doesn't talk about it. Doesn't answer your questions. The liar explicitly refuses to dialogue. And the liar denies that the lie is a lie. And you're convinced that it is one now because of the way he denied it. Okay? In which case he's shut off dialogue. He's not going to let you talk about it. Or he makes up another 20 lies to hide the fact that he doesn't want to talk about that lie. And then there's a lie remediation demand, which says, put the lie in jail, remove instances of the lie, please. So this is part of the thing that will get fed to Facebook. If you say, check, remove instances of the lie, Facebook will know that the guy who filed the lie would like to see those instances of that lie removed, please. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's a request for the adjudication. De-anonymize the liar. There are circumstances under which you can ask the court, please find out this liar, my daughter just died. Okay. And the court may come back and say, okay, we'll set some people off on that. We'll work with your jurisdiction, with the government. You're maybe in southern France. We'll work with that government and tell them that somebody just died. Okay. Contact information for the liar. If you know who the liar is, tell us. Okay, so that we can contact them and tell them that a suit's been filed against a lie. And then the way this works is the way courts always work is you're given a certain amount of time to do certain things. So everything is time limited. The enforcement here is the plaintiff has to be there the whole time while it's adjudicated. If the plaintiff doesn't show up for court, the court case dies. He lost his $40. So that's sort of the complexity of the whole thing. This is not a complex system. The complexity is all human. It's in AI. But this is a lie collector for the internet. It's a vacuum cleaner for the internet that can vacuum up all the lies. Okay, and then you can throw all the lies into machine learning and AI. Okay, to figure out how to do automated interpretation of lies, automatic adjudication to the extent that people will agree. You can predict how people will take a lie and how it'll be adjudicated and so forth and so on. So it's an engine for generating labeled data of interest to natural language understanding people like myself. So, trying to bring up this picture without, yeah. Does anybody know who that is? Is anybody else in here a PhD in psychology? I am. Okay. I know that guy immediately. Okay. Do you know where he lived? Not Pittsburgh, but someplace else in Pennsylvania. Guesses? Philadelphia. University of Pennsylvania. Okay. Do you know when he died? 1944. Do you know what he did? That is the guy who invented the intelligence test, the GRE, the SAT, the whatever. That's the guy behind cognitive testing, and his name is Cattell. And he studied in 1880 something. He went to Germany, learned a little bit about German psychology, came back, and he said, I can tell how intelligent, I can predict how good you're going to be later in life by giving you a bunch of questions to answer and timing how long it's going to take you to answer those questions. So the inverse of that is, I'll give you an hour or 2 hours to answer all these questions, and the more you get right, I can correlate that and predict future behavior and so forth and so on. And so I had made an argument that since the brain, the neocortex, is this incredible predication engine, it really manipulates predicates very well, then everybody must be different, slightly different in how we can manipulate predicates, partly because of our episodic memories, because of what we learned, partly because we're just, some people are probably natively faster at doing this thing and more juggly. By the way, we don't know how the brain computes. Anybody who says that we know how the brains compute is lying. Okay, just period. They're lying. Okay, we do not know how this works. Okay. But I predicted that smarter people can detect lies better and make up reasons to believe lies. I actually wrote that article a week ago before I ever found out about this Harvard guy that was predicting the same thing. That if you're smarter, you can do exactly those two things. And he did it with a psychological study at Harvard. So, but that's the guy that actually came up with this really cool mechanism that really does work for predicting. So you can make up any sort of set of questions about any sort of subject on any sort of thing, and you can see how it correlates from a time perspective, and you can predict success on something. Okay, so now I'll go back to my thing. So I'm very, very interested in getting a discussion on this. But just so you know why I'm here, partly the reason I'm here is that I would love to get, if anybody knows somebody who's looking for some contract work to do some natural language understanding in Python for AI, I need somebody to give me a prototype of a lie to class lie class action lie, and start doing that, because part of that input was a 250-word, for example, description of the lie and so forth and so on. And the other one thing I'm looking for is somebody who's utterly fluent in Wikipedia. So if anybody knows anybody on campus that's starving and needs a little bit of pay, I'd love to get somebody who really does know this. Okay. And we're also obviously looking for money to make it happen. Our estimate of the amount of money it's going to take to bring up this particular unicorn on the internet is going to be $1 billion. I want it in my pocket. Okay. I want to be able to hold it for 30 days. Okay. And then I'll start spending it. Okay. And then I'll be happy for the rest of my life on that 30 days of holding the $1 billion and not telling you what I'm doing with it. So since I've been teaching for unbelievable number, actually, I've been teaching since 1971. So that's 30 plus, for 50 friggin' years, okay? I learned a long time ago is not ask for questions, okay? Ask for numbers, okay? So does anybody want me to answer any of these questions? Just tell me what number you want me to answer and I will answer the question. We're in discussion mode now. And you can ask me any question that's off this list too. I have no problem answering questions.
What does number 6 mean?
6, question about independence from social media. So this one means that the Internet Court of Lies cannot be owned by Facebook. It cannot be owned by Google. It cannot be done inside of Facebook. It cannot be done inside of Google. You put it inside of any other thing, and you will corrupt the purpose of the court. The court will immediately not function to the degree it has to function because all of a sudden there will be lies that it cannot properly deal with. And you cannot have a court that has to recuse itself from lies. Yeah.
Under the heading of question 3,
Yeah.
how do you intend to handle standing if you're going to bring a suit?
Oh,
In other words,
it's 40
supposing
bucks.
I'm
There's
a
no
nation state or an agent nation state. and I
there's
have lots
no
of
nation
money.
state. No, we're not putting people in jail.
Supposing I have lots of money, what's to stop me from personally attacking somebody by bringing all kinds of suits against everything?
$40 a piece.
That's
Okay.
not going to stop me if I have a nation state's resources.
Oh, no. Okay, so the right answer is that we will stop you with money, okay? But we'll detect you. Part of this whole detection thing is that you'll now be in a different mode, okay? And we'll let you try it on a different place, okay? So for example, in the book, I'll give you an example of this.
What I'm saying is I can imagine very easily a scenario where I have lots of money and I'm trying to go out and defame someone, right? And I file all these lawsuits against them.
Remember, every one of them, you're giving up real money to file them.
That's fine.
Okay,
I
good.
can handle that.
Okay, so how many are you going to
You
do?
attack me and say, well, you can't file these suits.
No, I didn't say that.
Ah,
Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. So in this is a example of an accusation against Trump. Okay. The accusation against Trump is everything out of his mouth. Okay. It's not this or that. It's everything out of his mouth. So we can look at a nation state and we can say everything that you ever thought was a lie will get put into one suit and it's going to cost you this much money. Okay. And it will be tried as one suit. I'm not kidding. Okay. That's how you do that.
that's not going to stop it, though, because I can just pick various things that he says.
As long as it's coming from you.
That was a lie.
No, we know who you are. We're not publishing who you are unless you expose yourself.
I know, but again, if you then say, well, you're publishing all these frivolous suits and you ban me from it.
No, I didn't say
then
that.
I'll defame
No.
the system.
Wait. So hold it. So you need to distinguish trying a lie from a people action. Okay, so this is well outside of the people action stuff, right? Okay, so what this is so you're filing suits against lies that are out there. Okay.
That people had spoken or otherwise.
That people, but.
So I can still use it to attack people by attacking their speech.
Absolutely. So you can use
How do
it.
you stop them?
You charge them money.
That's not going to stop them.
It will if they have to pay money up front.
That's not going to be a determined adversary. That's not going to stop the nation state. That's not going to stop somebody who has a lot of money.
I will defy you to believe that. I will argue that it will stop a nation state. Okay, and it will stop a nation state because it's not. You have to pay up front to file each of those suits. Okay.
I would contend, I think you need something in here about standing, on whether you can bring a suit to effectively counter this. There needs to be some thought on that issue.
No. Oh, so to be clear, I didn't go into all of the suit filing thing. What you really need is some evidence, okay? So part of the filing of the suit is it is upon the plaintiff to produce convincing evidence. Okay, you can't just file a suit without producing convincing evidence, and we'll accept it or not accept it as a suit because the evidence isn't good enough for us to believe that that there's any reasonable suspicion that there's a lie. Okay, so absolutely, and if one of the things that I didn't point out on that page was a production of evidence. Okay, there's a minimal evidence requirement. Yeah. So I wrote a whole article on the rules of evidence for the Court of Lies, by the way. Yeah.
Is the result always binary, jail or non-jail, or is it a continuum?
No, it's in jail. Pretty much if it's a lie, it's in jail forever because the dialogue on it can be there forever.
Partial truths then.
There's always partial truth because there are likelihoods that one truth is true, another likelihood that a different truth is true. So it may be that there are 3 kinds of deceit that are detected, okay, that people say, well, it could have been this, it could have been this, and it could have been that. And it's probably, we think there's maybe a 60% likelihood it's this, and a 30% likelihood it's that, and a 10% likelihood it's that. Our job is to tell Facebook that's what you see. That's what people see. When this went to court, that's what people saw. And the court is completely not Facebook, it's not Google, it's not your enemies out there. This is all just paid for stuff. Yeah.
So the final determination of whether or not it ends up in jail is by the arbiters?
No, it's in jail. The second it's accepted as a suit. Okay. So jail's a funny word. So this is one of these things where it's a lie that's put in jail. It's not a person. And jail is a funny word. I originally just used that phrase to get people to understand this is not people. Okay, the lie goes to jail, not people. But what's really going on is that first suit, once it's being adjudicated, unless the result of the adjudication was it's not a lie. Okay, which could be the adjudication says, I don't know, this was complete misunderstanding. There was no lie here at all.
Yeah, I guess my question was who are those the people/machines that make that final determination?
Not to go to jail. So it goes to jail automatically if the suit is accepted. Okay. Right. And it's there forever. And it just moves along that trace, which is there's the suit, and then it moves into a class action. But the suit doesn't move. The suit is always there. Okay, it defines details that the class act for a specific suit that a class action is adjudicated on, and then at some point, a class action, one or more class actions, can wind up pointing to one or more Wikipedia pages. Okay, and the Wikipedia pages are true encyclopedia pages. We've identified that 33.2% of all lies in the world are fraud. Okay, great data for Wikipedia. Any others who pick a question?
Any questions?
Yeah, there's a slide delay though.
Yes.
How do you buy-in from some of the major social media players? Because Facebook makes an awful lot of money off of people sharing really exciting lies.
Absolutely, and so what we haven't really gotten into, and the book really does get into this, is good lies. In fact, I wrote one article on dreams and the origins of good fiction. Okay, so fiction is just a lie. Just by definition, it's a lie. Okay, so there are lots and lots of good lies out there. There's no, and then the question is does somebody file a suit on it? Somebody feel that lie is bad enough that they're going to spend $40 filing a suit and go into the trouble of trying to cause a suit on the lie. Okay, so, and then that's what you have to go over. So if people are just saying things to each other and playing with each other and everybody's happy about it and all this other stuff is, nobody files a suit, nothing happens. If somebody files a suit, the plaintiffs, the accused can get notified if the guy says, well, that guy was the guy that lied, okay. Then we notify them and that they can come in and say, well, this isn't a lie. I'm willing to talk to this guy. And if you're willing to talk to the guy, if you just say, oh, y'all just set up a dialogue, work it out between you. It's not a Fiat lie. It doesn't qualify. If people work it out in dialogue among themselves, it's a folk lie. Whatever lie there is a folk lie. It might be a folk tale. That's allowed completely to happen. This is only for things that people are willing to pay money to have adjudicated and to go into the system and be judged based on evidence that there really was a lie, that the liar, the guy that was lying or the person that was lying or the thing or company that was lying, refuses to have open dialogue about the lie. So a way to just sort of avoid court is say, I'm happy to talk to you. In fact, I now routinely on my articles at the bottom of my article, I say, I'm happy, if you disagree with what I'm saying, I'm happy to dialogue with you about it.
But what do you think Facebook's response should be if a lie's in jail and it's being spread through its...
No. It's up to... I have no opinion. All I'm doing is providing them with unbiased, detailed information. So one of my articles is against this business of Twitter stopping the political ads. And it basically says Twitter should have better information than that. They should be able to look at the ad, and if somebody suspects the ad has a lie in it, they can file a suit. If the suit handling is mature, which means that we can use real AI on it for the whole thing, then the suit could get adjudicated in a couple of milliseconds. You file a suit, it gets a couple of milliseconds. Facebook now knows that, or Twitter knows that ad has a lie that's been adjudicated, and these are the properties of the lie that have been figured out for that particular lie. And then it'll have a policy which it can now write its policies in a competent way. But we do not get in the business of telling other content. We do not get in the business of telling content providers how to make content decisions. We just are in the business of providing the best possible information about the lies that exist, based on 400 years of history of learning how to deal with this after the advent of printing, which is called court.
So in this, once it moves to what you were calling a mature system where you can use AI, do you foresee using just semantic features on that machine learning algorithm to predict?
So unfortunately, I've been doing natural language understanding systems for 50 years too. Okay, that is a very long discussion. Okay, but Jaime Carbonell, I don't know if you know him here. So he and I go back to Yale days, back in the 70s, and we have very, very specific ideas about what we would be doing there, and it would be hopefully will improve the quality of of Alexa's conversations and Siri's conversations, okay, by licensing the technology that we built out of this. But yeah, so you will not get down to milliseconds unless the AI is operating.
The features are semantic features, though.
It's so, you know, for somebody like me, anybody who says something like semantic features, so we have different episodic backgrounds, okay? Mine goes back a long time and a lot of work, and anybody who uses the word feature around me, that's shooting words, okay?
I guess what I'm asking is, are you pulling it from the text itself, or are you going to actually...
No, we're pulling it from the full context. We can do machine vision, we can do all that stuff. No, we'll pull it from the full context and attempt to process the predications correctly. So if you want to read some great work, read Shank's Conceptual Dependency Grammars and so forth, and if you want to see some of the greatest work in this area. Any other questions? Anybody want to pick another question?
I'd like to know what number 5 means.
5, question about good lying and bad lying. So it turns out that what I didn't mention, I said motive is going to be there. What I didn't say, and there was going to be another one there, and it says, is it excusable? Is it okay? If that guy lied, intentionally lied, and intended to do that deceit, is it socially okay? Okay. If it's socially okay, we'll rate that and say, yeah, that was a socially okay deceit. And chances are Facebook will look at that and go, you know, we're not going to delete that content. That's socially okay content. So there are plenty of good lies that people tell all the time. So folk tales, telling a kid that Santa Claus exists, which is not a lie, okay, is a good lie. So there's good lying and bad lying all over the place, and you know, we want to make sure that the good lying is, you know, people can do all the good lying they ever want to do. Even if somebody files a suit and somebody else thinks it's a bad lie, and they think they can prove it, they might to some degree, but we might be able to also say, well, no, that's 80%. That's a good lie. So that's it. So I've got the 5 o'clock with Mr. Haight over at the
Thank you.
over at the University Center.